No. Come on, where is it?
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app here. Any chance you're missing a debit card? Let's get that taken care of for you. With ICCU's card control, you can turn any card off with the tap of your finger.
You got it.
And back on again. Out, 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 out. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
Ooh, the gym.
Old stomping grounds. Hank Patterson, fly fishing guide.
Riley Smith, tight end.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Hey, you wouldn't happen to be the kicker?
No, tight end.
Again, thank you. I'm looking for a kicker for Lithia Ford's fall kickoff sale. But you're not the kicker.
No.
Yeah. Nah, the kicker's probably taller and in a lot better shape. So, okay. What position do you play?
Tight end.
Squats. Yeah. Try it sometime.
RowPaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics, is going all in this season with an all-star lineup. First up, he led the Broncos to 3 conference championships and 10 20-win seasons. It's Coach Leon Rice. Next, he's the founder and CEO of RowPaint.com. He played a little basketball in high school on the driveway with his mom. It's Andy Rowe.
Oh, no. Want to just paint my house?
Now that I can do. When I want Boise State to win, I trust Coach Rice to lead the Broncos to victory.
And when I want the best painting and garage floor coating, I trust RowPaint.com to get that job done right.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Today's broadcast is coming from the Cutwater Spirits Canned Cocktail Studios. Check out one of their more than 30 flavors of pre-mixed premium cocktails at your local gas station or grocery store. Cutwater Canned Cocktails is perfect for your next game day tailgate party. Now, here's 4-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Well, Saturday at Extra Mile Arena, it got a little closer than it needed to. Up 8 with 28 seconds to go. But Boise State hangs on despite this last-second three-pointer from Lamont Cutler. The Broncos get the ball in bounds. A packed house can celebrate, take a deep breath, and the Boise State men's basketball team picks up a needed 67-66 win over the San Diego State Aztecs on Saturday morning / afternoon there at Extra Mile Arena. We bring in my man Mike Prater for a Monday edition of Bronco Nation News Live. We're both unintentionally sporting vests today, Mike Prater, and our row painting hats. So the uniform email worked. I guess you got it. So how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. That's scary when we start dressing alike, BJ. That means we're spending way too much time together, but glad to be here on a Monday morning, fired up. This is the perfect combination of football and basketball, and I know we're going to talk a lot about that basketball game, and that was a lot of fun on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, let's start quickly with football, though, and everybody enjoyed the playoffs yesterday. I have become I'd say the last 7 or 8 years, Kansas City Chiefs fan. By no means am I would not say I'm a bandwagon fan because my wife became friends with some extended family members of Alex Smith's family when we moved out here in 2013. He's got a lot of aunts and uncles and cousins, and I think even a grandma that lives out here in Boise still. So we were following the Chiefs, I think, ever since 2013 when they had Alex Smith for briefly. But when the Rams left St. Louis, they were the next closest team, and we just decided to continue following them. So they're the team we're still pulling for, but I wouldn't say I'm living or dying with every play by any means. But with that said, it's nice to see them move on last night. But the downside of that is Khalil Shakir is now headed home, and he had a heck of a touchdown catch today. I may or may not, Mike Prater, have cashed a anytime touchdown bet with my local bookie for Khalil Shakir to score a touchdown yesterday. Was very excited to see that, and I could have used one more passing touchdown from Josh Allen, but that's a topic for another conversation. But Khalil Shakir, great catch, continues to impress. We heard Tony Romo. We heard the broadcast continuing to give him praise. I think they called him an emerging star after one of his catches. So we got plenty of time to get to the basketball game and what's ahead there. But I wanted to start just with the NFL playoffs and Khalil Shakir continuing to take a step forward. But yet again, another year where no Boise State player will win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's the bittersweet part here. And I'm with you. I'm a Chiefs fan as well. Alex Smith certainly has something to do with that in terms of these playoffs. And I want the Chiefs. I know Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid have been there for 18,000 consecutive years, but I'll be on the Chiefs bandwagon for sure this weekend. And it does suck that the Buffalo Bills, this beautiful story in Buffalo, God, you just feel, even if you hate the Buffalo Bills, and I don't know why you would hate the Buffalo Bills, but even if you don't like that franchise, you have to feel sorry for what they're going through. And then Khalil Shakir, I'm not too worried about him. He's growing. He's progressing every single time he puts on the football uniform. And I like the direction of that dude's career. So gutsy yesterday and such cool plays. He's had a couple of nice plays in these playoffs. But here's the sad part. The drought continues for Boise State football, and it's the longest Super Bowl drought in the modern era of Boise State football. Jay Ajayi and Shea McClellan battled together in that 2018 Super Bowl with Eagles and Patriots, and obviously Jay Ajayi came away with the ring. A Boise State player hasn't even appeared in the Super Bowl since. This will be the 6th consecutive year that Boise State doesn't appear in a Super Bowl, and that's a little bit that's kind of sobering. When, in fact, from 2005, when Quentin Michael kind of started this modern era all the way up till 2018, Boise State was a staple almost every single stinking year in the Super Bowl, and now 6 straight years. And I know Boise State's NFL numbers are down just a little bit, but not that much down. So it's tough. It's tough to get to the Super Bowl, and unfortunately for Boise State, the drought continues in 2024.
Kareem the Dream may be wrong here, but he says Jeremy McNichols is still on the Niners.
He got dropped last week. He got picked up on the practice squad last week and was there for a couple of days, and then they had to drop him because I believe they needed some, I think it was a defensive guy. I can't remember exactly. JP had it in one of his updates last week. There's a small possibility, I guess, you can pick him up, but the 49ers have released Jeremy McNichols on their practice squad as he continues to yo-yo. So we'll certainly keep an eye on that, but as of right now, that is not in play.
Come on, Kareem the Dream. Don't doubt Mike Prater and his I would say that's one of the things you enjoy tracking the most over the years, whether it be in columns or on the air, is the going into training camp where the former Boise State players are and then how they're performing.
Yeah, absolutely. And we chart that here, and I chart that. I keep a little Google database and chart all these guys all the way back to the Raleigh Woolseys, the Marcus Cooks of the world who started this Super Bowl era for Boise State. Every single year, the Boise State players, and frankly, all the Idaho players, Idaho State, even the College of Idaho had a player in the NFL this past couple of years. So, and then the high school kids as well that are around here. So I do love charting that. And it's unfortunate that, my long list of preseason names is down to 0 after we crossed off Khalil Shakir last night.
I mean, but that's not necessarily what do you make that? It's either quantity, I guess, not having enough players still available, just playing in the league in general. It's just percentages, but it's more just on the teams they're on and how they do, I guess, than it being a some sort of reflection on Boise State or the players. But I guess you could say the more players you have around the league, the better chance you'd have to get somebody in a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Like we said, the numbers are down a little bit, but it's not significantly down. I mean, I think Boise State during its heyday was putting 14 to 16, somewhere in that kind of average of players in the NFL. Sometimes that number starts at 20 plus when we go to training camp, and it obviously fluctuates. They're down to like 10, 11 maybe now, depending on some of these guys that are always going up and down. So yeah, the numbers are down a little bit, but that 6-year drought is shocking. I think it's part of the numbers percentage that's going to play a role, but just the fact that it's so impossible to get to the Super Bowl every single year for anybody. I don't care who you are, unless you're like Alabama and you have 4 players on every stinking team. But hopefully they'll get back. Khalil Shakir is going to have bright days ahead, and we're going to keep an eye on that. But yeah, a little bitter pill last night. But you don't feel sorry for Shaq. I mean, he's hurting today, but that dude's career is off. He's got to be number 2. They've got to work him into the number 2 guy. Gabe Davis, get rid of that Gabe Davis guy and just make a commitment to Diggs, and then all of a sudden Khalil Shakir. Diggs is not going to, relinquish that role to Khalil Shakir, but Khalil Shakir, to me, has proven, and this year his superpower is catching every stinking ball that comes to him. We've always wondered, what's Khalil Shakir's superpower? He's not the biggest guy, he's not the fastest guy, but his superpower is sticky fingers this year, and I think he's proven to be the number 2 guy. I hope the Bills figure out a way in the offseason to cement him as their number 2 wide receiver going into next season.
And the frustrating part is, as media members, as fans, as whatever, like, we totally saw this coming. Like, we watched him play in college for 4 years, and then all of a sudden he falls to the 5th or 6th round, whatever it is, and you're just like, no one in a Boise State that's followed his college career is one bit surprised. And it was even during his rookie year, it was like, why not give him more action? Every time they'd put him out there on a 3rd down play, he'd make a catch. And it was just like, why not keep playing him? Give him more action. And they wouldn't do it. Now he's finally getting a chance to play more, and he's making some crazy catches. I think at one point, I don't know if he had one yesterday, and I know sometimes whether it's a bad pass versus a drop is kind of, how they decide that. But at one point, he had 16 straight catches on targets going into the game yesterday. He had that crazy catch right near the goal line where he kind of reached in front of the other guy and pulled it in before it hit the ground for a first down, I believe. Obviously had the touchdown catch, had at least one other catch as well. So he always had great hands, very rarely dropped the ball at Boise State, and would make, a lot of run after the catch type stuff. We saw what he did in the game last week where he was almost falling down and scored the touchdown, and then they went back and showed a play from like the Wyoming game or something where he did literally the exact same thing. So that's what I guess, I don't know if frustrating is the right word, but it's like, why did it take the Bills a year and a half to figure out what seemed pretty obvious when he was here?
I would agree with that. And last year he did have a little bit of bugaboo in terms of the pass catch ratio. I think he was about 50% last year in terms of targets and catches. And that was a little bit concerning. I didn't break those down. I have no idea if that's a drop or a bad pass. Like you said, they kind of classify that. But about 50% of his targets last year he caught. And that really wasn't a red alarm for Shakir. He needed to boost that up. And the numbers right now, and I haven't looked for a long time, but I guarantee you it's over 90% in terms of his pass catch ratio. And it probably is above 95%. And late in the season, it's been close to 98, 99%. Dude is reliable. He's generous. He's consistent. He's all the things that you want in an NFL football player. Josh Allen speaks highly of them. I think they'll figure out a way to elevate his status in the offseason, no doubt about it.
And as we kind of transition here, Mike Prater, George Holani is still our only hope, right? I don't know if Cade Beresford has a chance at the 6th or 7th round, but I mean, it would seem like George Holani, and I believe he went and had a strong performance at the Hulu Bowl. We'll see if he gets added into any of these extra games. I don't think he has to this point, but we're talking NFL and Boise State. George Holani is maybe the only hope at this point. We'll see of Boise State trying to get another player drafted here and keep that streak alive.
Yeah, Beresford will get into a camp for a little bit, maybe a couple of others guys. I think Curran might get a little bit of a Sunday shot after the draft in terms of, maybe a free agent tryout. There'll be a couple of guys trickling in, but yeah, George Holani is certainly the best. And the NFL draft is another thing we're keeping an eye on in terms of the numbers that are going down. And when it comes to Boise State in the draft, after that, nice 10, 15-year run. But George Holani, you're right. He played in the Hula Bowl, played well, limited opportunities, has not been picked up. And that's the goal when you go to a Hula Bowl. Probably one of the lower level, definitely one of the lower level bowl games out there. The whole goal of going to the Hula Bowl is to try to get an invite to the Senior Bowl or some of these other big-time bowls. And I don't believe that that's happened yet. We haven't heard of that happening. George Holani is going to get a shot. I think George Holani is going to go deep into camp, whether he's a practice squad guy or a late round cut or just a guy that kind of bounces around for a year or two. I think he's going to get a shot, but at this point, I don't expect him to have any kind of massively impactful NFL career.
Sometimes on Twitter, Mike Prater, I try to stir the pot a little bit with other teams' fan bases, as you're known to do on your show and this show before. Sometimes I just put out a harmless tweet and it goes way more crazy than I ever would have intended. And that's what happened over the weekend. We'll transition to basketball, and we'll discuss and show that next. We're back in 90 seconds. Don't go anywhere here on Bronco Nation News. All Bronco Nation News broadcasts come from the Cutwater Spirits Canned Cocktail Studios. Check out one of their more than 30 flavors of pre-mix premium cocktails at your local gas station or grocery store. Cutwater Spirits, perfect for your next game day tailgate party. Our title sponsor is rowpaint.com. For all your commercial, industrial, residential painting needs, check out rowpaint.com. Don't forget about their concrete coatings. Transform that ugly concrete slab on your back patio in your garage in just one day. Contact rowpaint.com for a free estimate today. The official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics, and our title sponsor at Bronco Nation News is rowpaint.com. Idaho Central Credit Union's been helping members achieve financial success for more than 80 years. There's an ICCU branch on almost every corner, but the closest is in your pocket with free eBranch mobile and online banking. See why more than 500,000 members love ICCU and join 1 in 4 Idahoans by making the switch today at ICCU.com. Since 1984, Ridley's Family Markets has prided itself on being a hometown food and drug store that employed value members of the local community. Ridley's Family Markets has 13 locations in the state of Idaho and many more in the surrounding states. Download the new Ridley's app to your smartphone, get savings up to 40% off at the checkout line, and find a location near you at shopridleys.com. Former Bronco Matt Bauscher is once again the number 1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley. No home is too big or too small for Matt and his team. Let them fulfill all your real estate needs at BauscherRealEstate.com. All right, Mike Prater, we were both in attendance at Extra Mile Arena on Saturday. The Boise State men's basketball team, about 7 or 8 minutes away, 7 or 8 minutes left, down 1. Nice 11-3 run to come down the stretch to kind of pull away and take control of the game. And I know the final score, I think I jinxed it when I looked over at you and Johnny and made a joke about the computer rankings or whatever. Would it be helpful if Boise State could hold on to the big lead and almost right away it quickly almost turned into a disaster. But Boise State does hang on for the win, 67-66. That is the large thing that matters here. Their 4th quad 1 win. There's only 12 teams in all of college basketball that have at least 4 quad 1 wins. So Boise State, from a metrics perspective, from a quality win perspective, is doing what it needs to do to this point. If they just hadn't lost that UNLV game, they'd be ranked today in the AP poll. They'd be 5-0 in league. And it's just would have been such a brighter picture if they just hadn't lost that game to UNLV. But they did. They're still 4-1. We'll show the Mountain West standings here in a minute. Just Mike, you were there. I was going to say courtside. I guess we're kind of courtside there at Extra Mile Arena in the media corner over there. But big crowd, fun game. Just your overall takeaways from Saturday.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. I enjoy that a lot, and it's nice to get down there. Usually when I go to these basketball games, I sit up in the stands with family and kind of enjoy it that way. But it was nice to get down there and get that perspective of what's going on. It was a beautiful win for Boise State. I don't really care about the 1 point loss or the 1 point gap at the very end. That was kind of a weird situation. Boise State was the better team in this game. Boise State played really well. Boise State, has this team of superstars, this 2 or 3 or 4 guys that are kind of the alpha males on this team. And they really haven't, in my opinion, put it all together where all 3 or 4 or 5 of them are clicking. And maybe Leon Rice doesn't want that, but it seems like every single night so far, somebody steps up, and that's a nice problem to have. Is it going to be Abo? Is it going to be Max? Is it going to be Tyson? Is it going to be Omar? Is it going to be somebody else on this basketball team? And I really like the way and the direction they're going. I can't wait to get to the argument with this tweet because I know exactly which tweet you're talking about, and I might tend to agree with you, which kind of scares me. So let's bring it on, BJ. Let's talk about that sucker.
Okay, why not? We'll throw that on the screen here. I'll pull it up here in a second. But yeah, I guess it's just so hard. First of all, say Mike Prater to when the home court advantage means so much in this league, which it does. I don't think we're going to have a true look and feel of this until teams have played each other twice. And I just think when teams have heavy home schedules or in the non-conference played much easier schedules and got more wins, I just don't know if 4 or 5 games into conference play, you can truly be, sold on certain teams. And I am personally just not, and again, they're probably watching this or this will get, clipped before the game on Saturday, but there's 2 teams in particular that I'm not 100% sold on. One is Utah State and one is New Mexico. And we'll find out on Saturday against Utah State. And again, even if Boise State wins the game, I don't know if that 100% says for sure Boise State's better than Utah State because Boise State in 3 weeks has to go back to back there. And the same goes for when Boise State goes to next Wednesday to the Pit. I would guess Boise State probably loses that game. No one's winning at the Pit right now. They're selling out every game, and it's back to being one of the elite home courts in all of college basketball. I mean, San Diego State just lost there by 20. I would suspect Boise State loses next Wednesday, but that wouldn't tell me 100% that I think that New Mexico is going to ultimately end up in a better position than Boise State. I think New Mexico has a very favorable schedule. Their last 4 road games, Mike Prater, are to the 4 top teams in the league. So if you look at the upcoming schedule, I think there's a strong chance that New Mexico could win their next 5 games, and they're going to be 9-2 in conference and 21-3 and probably ranked like 10th in the AP poll or whatever. And then their last like 6 or 7 games, it gets really tough for New Mexico, and I could see them coming back down to earth a little bit down the stretch. Utah State is just starting their key spot. 6 of their next 8 games here are against the top teams in the league. They've got 3 of those on the road, including at Colorado State, at Boise State, at San Diego State. They also have the tricky road games to Wyoming and San Jose during this stretch. And then at home, they're still playing the other top teams as well. So I think in the next 3 weeks, we'll know a lot about Utah State. And then right when their tough streak ends is when the tough streak starts for New Mexico. Boise State is in the middle, by the way, what I would consider a tough stretch, Mike Prater here. They have they're in the middle of this key stretch where I know Fresno is not exactly the hardest game on the schedule, but they're home against Utah State, at New Mexico, and then they have Air Force at home the following Saturday. But then they have back-to-back road games, Colorado State and Utah State the following week. I think there is a real scenario where Boise State is 7-4 in conference, and people are kind of with back-to-back losses against Colorado State and Utah State on the road, which again, on the road, Colorado State, Utah State, we're saying right now that probably very easily could happen. But at 7-4, I could see a lot of people freaking out and saying, what's going on? Well, then you look at the schedule. Their next 6 games are Fresno State, San Jose, Wyoming, Air Force. Those should be 4 wins. And then home games against New Mexico and Nevada. So I see a very likely scenario where Boise State is 7-4 in league, and then they rip off 6 straight wins, and they're 13-4 in league going into the last game at San Diego State, which would make them what we all said before the season they needed to do, which to make them put them in 13-5. So I guess I said Mountain West power rankings, and I put out a tweet Saturday night, and I guess part of it was what I'm also projecting it to be quite frank, later in the season when it's all said and done. But thankfully, Mike Prater, I did sign up for the monetization on Twitter, so I will gladly, I will gladly take the 72,000 views that this tweet has gotten, and the all the various interactions and things. I think we're up to 55 replies, 28 retweets, 195 likes, and 4 people bookmarked it. So they want to come back and tell me I was wrong, I guess, here later in the year. But again, part of this is not being sold solely on Utah State and New Mexico. You look at what New Mexico has done in particular, a couple of very nice wins, Mike Prater, but both of their big wins have come at home. They lost at Colorado State, and then they should have lost to UNLV on the road, a gifted play there at the end of the game. So their 2 hardest road games they should have lost. And yes, they do have nice home wins over San Diego State and Utah State, but I just want to see a little more from New Mexico, and that's going to start to happen. But again, they have Nevada at home and Boise State at home, so I think they're probably going to win both those games. But they've got a nice favorable stretch here, but it does finish strong, hard for them. They're at Nevada, at San Diego State back-to-back, home to Colorado State. They are home to Air Force, and then at Boise State, home to Fresno, at Utah State. So as I said, in the final 3 weeks, they have road trips to Utah State, Boise State, Colorado State, San Diego State, or I guess Nevada and San Diego State. They already played at Colorado State and lost. So I'm predicting that the New Mexico fans are only going to get a little more pompous here, Mike Prater. As I said, they're going to win 4 or 5 more games in a row here, I think, probably, unless Boise State can pick them off there at home. But I do think there's some tough games still coming up. The problem is we're just not going to know about New Mexico until later in the season. But I've been rambling here for a while, so I'll let you jump in. But just your take on my current standings and the reaction it got.
Well, first of all, and I hate to do this, but you remind me sometimes of my wife who overthinks things, and I'll say that and get in trouble, but you don't have to go that deep to protect or to defend your tweet, BJ, because I think the standings as it sits right now, and I'll go ahead and be the despicable garbage Mountain West journalist that people called you and agree with you. And I don't think I'm even projecting into the future. I'm just looking at right now, and I don't care about as much as the future. That's a great breakdown of the future, and I think you're 100% accurate. But if I'm going to sit here today on Monday, the 21st or 22nd or whatever the hell day it is of January, as we get into this basketball season, Boise State to me should be number one in these power rankings. I guess you could have maybe put Utah State in there, which you have fourth, and maybe Utah State people are upset. If I was upset at your poll at all, maybe UNLV at number 6, because I saw some stuff out of UNLV that scares me about the end of this basketball season. Is Boise State, can you defend that Boise State is the best team or deserves to has put together the best resume in the Mountain West right now? If you're doing a Mountain West power rankings right now, I have no problem with Boise State number 1. You have San Diego State number 2. Boise State just beat them. Colorado State number 3. So I understand that where these people are coming from, but I think you made a great point that Boise State should be number 1. And I'm not the home or biased journalist that's out there that's doing this. I'm harder than anybody on Boise State basketball. I think they should be number 1. I really do.
Do I take things with a positive spin sometimes for Boise State? Sure, but I would fight back a little bit that I am some huge Boise State homer and that I'm putting them first without any possible scenario where they should be first. I mean, they have the most quad 1 wins in the league. They're the only team, I believe, in the league that's got an undefeated 3-0 record against the other top 6 teams to this point. So Boise State is 3-0 against the other top 6. They're the only team in the league that's done that. And Boise State is undefeated on the road in conference play, 2-0. So they have the best road record. They have the best record against the other 6 teams in the league, and they have the most quad 1 wins among the top 6. Now, the other folks wanted to come back and say, well, what about quad 2 and 3 losses and all that kind of stuff? I get that. Utah State and New Mexico maybe should have been a little bit higher, but like I said, I also, where this is current, I also think this is where it could end. So that was also where I kind of, projected it a little bit as well. I just still have a little more faith in San Diego State and Colorado State over the course of the season than I do in Utah State and New Mexico. I think both Utah State and New Mexico benefit greatly from their home courts, and I'm not sure they can go on the road and get wins as much as I would have a little more confidence in San Diego State or Colorado State going on and getting a road win at this point. And like I said, this was just where I see things right now. I by no means was really trying to – I know Derek says here that I was trying to drop a bomb with that power ranking. I really wasn't. I just thought this is where I kind of see it right now, and I had no idea that such a meaningless power ranking would really fire up so many fan bases. It was mostly New Mexico and mostly Utah State fans, and even some Nevada fans that couldn't believe that UNLV was ahead of them when okay. But I just I don't know. I think it's going to be very competitive. I think. And maybe it was where I had the tiers. Maybe if I'd had Utah State and New Mexico in that first tier and then put the line after number 5 or something, maybe it would have made it a little bit better. Maybe. But there was some fun with that. And I a couple of replies I made, and then I finally just said it's not worth it. We'll see what happens on March 10th or whatever when the season's over and what the standings are. But I think you can very easily defend right now. And again, that's probably going to change. Boise State has some tough road games coming up. As I said, there's a real scenario where they're, what are they, 5 and they're I got the standings here. They're 4-1 right now, I believe, in conference. And I think 3-3 in their next 6 games is likely. They're going to be 7-4. They're going to be on a 2-game losing streak with road losses at Colorado State and Utah State, or very easily could happen. And there's going to be fans freaking out in Boise, fans freaking out in, around the conference that, Boise State's already 7-4 in league. And but then you look at the schedule and I think they can rip off 6 wins in a row and be 13-4 going into the last game at San Diego State. So I think the schedule, who you've played already, who you haven't played. And by the way, Mike Prater, Utah State gets a gift. The only team that they only play one time this year is Nevada, and it's in Logan. So Utah State does not have to go to Reno. And so if Utah State wins this league by a half a game or a game or whatever it would be, or finishes tied for first, and they are the only team that didn't have to go play on the road at one of the other top 5 or 6 teams, there's going to be, I already think we're getting closer, and maybe even as early as next year, to going to the full 20-game conference schedule where everyone plays everybody twice and you just get rid of the 2 non-Division I games Boise State played. Because the bottom of the conference is getting better, I think the metrics wise, it's probably moving in that direction. But if you have Utah State win this league without having to go play at Nevada this year, you're going to have a lot of coaches really upset with that.
Yeah, and we'll see how that plays out. I'm not so much worried about that right now, although I know Leon was asked about that in his press conference the other day, and and he certainly has some strong thoughts to say about that. But I fully expect Boise State, and I'll just, again, I'll reel it back in a little bit in terms of just immediate future. I fully expect Boise State to win both these games this week, at Fresno State tomorrow, Utah State Saturday afternoon at home, and all of a sudden Boise State's 6-1. They're in first place in the Mountain West Conference. I believe that'd make them 15-5 overall, with a pretty decent road record. I was just looking at the Mountain West road records, by the way. There's only 3 teams in the entire, and I'm taking out the neutral site games, but there's only 3 teams in all of the Mountain West that have winning records on the road. Everybody else is really struggling on the road. It looks like Nevada's 3-2, Utah State is 4-2, Boise State's 2-1. Everybody else is either 500 or under 500 on the road. So Boise State's proven that they can win on the road. And I'll go back to what I said, and I know you've said it too. That tough schedule where Boise State was getting beat up, including by its own fans who were criticizing Leon for this super team and going off and losing all these games. That's what's making Boise State better right now. Leon Rice's basketball teams, maybe not the bench, the depth, we're going to keep an eye on that. We're going to keep an eye on how they develop the depth. But Boise State and Leon Rice and his core players of 6, 7, and maybe 8, based on what we saw on Saturday, always gets better during the offseason or during the season. And you can't say that with other coaches all the time. So I have all the faith in the world. To me, Boise State has one big mission. Just get into the semifinals in Vegas of the Mountain West tournament and be competitive. And I think everything else is going to take care of itself. I really do.
Yeah, we have the standings up here on the screen now. Again, Utah State is 5-1. They have a half-game lead in the standings. They have not had their bye yet. They do have their bye this week, though, Mike Prater. They're off this week while Boise State has to go to Fresno. So Utah State gets a week here before they come to Boise on Saturday. So that's a nice benefit for Utah State coming into Boise this weekend. But Utah State and Boise State are the only 2 teams in the conference with one loss. So if Boise State takes care of business tomorrow, which I think Boise State wins tomorrow. I don't have nearly the feeling I did against UNLV last week when I thought they were going to lose that game, Mike Prater. But these road midweek games against the bad teams in the league are scary games. You just saw Nevada go lose at Wyoming. This is a somewhat nervous, scary game. I guarantee you Leon Rice ain't going down to Fresno on the plane like you just assuming they're going to have a 20-point win. This will be a closer game than it probably should be based on the metrics, but I see Boise State pulling this out by 5, 6, 7 points probably. I think Boise State wins, but I'm just saying I would not feel 100% confident for any game in this conference on the road based on what's happened to this point. And with that said, though, if Boise State wins tomorrow, you're going to have the 2 only 5-1 teams in the league. I know it's not even halfway point, Mike Prater, but you will literally have first place on the line on Saturday at Extra Mile Arena. Whoever loses would drop down to 2 conference losses. Whoever wins would be the only team at 6-1. And it's got to be pretty early in the season. Like we're 5-6 games in, and you already have 1, 2, 3, 4 teams with 2 conference losses. You have Nevada and UNLV already with 3. We all said, the team that wins this league might have 6, 4 or 5 losses. I mean, we're not even at the halfway point, and we're pretty much, I think, going to be on pace with that because, like I said, Utah State and Boise State have their tough road games still ahead, as do some of these other teams. So, it's every night's going to be a battle, and all these games are going to be a lot of fun. And like I said in my subsequent tweet, who knew that it would really rile people up? But I said, you know what? Like the nice thing is we get to actually settle this on the court here over the next 7 weeks, and you can have whatever power rankings or rankings you want, but we'll be able to pick a winner here on the court and for sure know who won this thing in about 7 weeks.
Yeah, and I fully expect Boise State to just crush Fresno State tomorrow night. I think you were a little bit soft and maybe bracing for maybe an ugly win, and that's certainly possible. But Fresno State's an ugly basketball team right now. They've lost 6 of their last 8. Some of these games, they're getting blown out by 20 points. Some of them, they're kind of hanging tough on the road. So they have that puncher's mentality where they can maybe just get lucky one time. But Fresno State should be an easy game. Boise State needs to come out of that game. I don't care if it's 4 points, 14 points. They just need to come out of that game feeling really good and really confident about themselves without any kind of gray area, without any kind of mental stuff, because going into that game on Saturday against Utah State is going to be the big one. And I wouldn't be so much worried about that at home. Like you said, going to Logan in a couple of weeks based on that Utah State, Colorado State road trip is going to be really, really tough. But Boise State, this is a good week for Boise State. They've gotten themselves to the point where they feel really good about themselves. And now I just need that confidence buster. Just get in there and just annihilate Fresno State and put an 8 to 12 point whipping on Utah State. I like Utah State. My dad went to Utah State. I got emotional feelings for Utah State. I don't really always like their fans. And based on some things that are happening, I wouldn't mind Boise State just crushing the Aggies on Saturday.
And that wouldn't shock me, like I said, one bit. And I don't know if I'll quite go to because believe me, I saw they had 4 bookmarks on there, on mine. You don't know how many. I got way more than that I bookmarked for down the road. Believe me, man. They were coming after me, and it is what it is. It's great, but it's
keep
fine.
Receipts, BJ. Keep receipts. I love people who keep receipts.
You know what? And it's usually like a road trip. The road trips are the best after the win. When I'm like in the Uber at 6 a.m. heading to the airport, I'm just going for a Wednesday troll, and I'm just out there clicking them and have some comments. No, I've got some saved, so we'll definitely see what happens. I don't know if Saturday will be the day to pull it out because, like I said, it maybe they win by 20 or whatever, but 17 days later, it's a pretty quick turnaround. They go back the night before the Super Bowl and play in, at Utah State. And then Utah State will probably win that one. So you still won't know who the better team is. So
we may need to get you some security for that game. So you may have to dip into that BNN budget. Maybe I'll have to donate part of my paycheck. We may need to get you a little security guard for that road trip to Logan. They can be a little pesky down there, as you noticed.
When we were at the James, there was a drunken fan back during one of the football post games that may not a big fan of mine. And Brad Bedell stood up and took care of that pretty quickly. So maybe Brad Bedell would be available to come down and sit next to me for that one.
I like that one. I like that one a lot.
A couple final minutes, Mike, with you. We are going to do our giveaway today. I'll let Mike go before we do that, but we do have our drawings coming, so don't go anywhere. I finally was able to get the wheel and everything updated, so we'll have our weekly subscriber giveaways from last week here on a Monday as we're giving away some cool stuff for our paying subscribers. So we'll be doing that here shortly. But Mike, just one or two takeaways from the game before I let you go. The bench, we talked a lot about it. We ripped it. And whether Leon, read the stories, heard us all talking about it on our shows, whatever, it was certainly a different approach to the bench in that game. We saw more of Jace Whiting. We saw more of Jace Whiting playing with Roddy Anderson to give guys like Max Rice a break. It wasn't just Jace coming in for Roddy. Same thing with Cam Martin. It wasn't just Cam Martin coming in for Omar. It was Cam coming in for Tyson, and we saw Omar and Cam playing together. I thought there was a much better rotation and feel on the bench, some kind of unique lineups we haven't seen a ton of. But I thought it really worked. And again, with 8 minutes to go and you're down 1, Boise State had the I know in the last 28 seconds, there was just some fluky threes and free throws, but down the stretch of that game, I think it was about 8 minutes to go. Boise State was down 1. They put the pedal down, went on an 11-3 run and took control of the game and got up 9. And I think a lot of that was because you had maybe guys that were a little bit fresher than maybe they have been down the stretch in previous games. So I thought Jace Whiting looked much better, had a great pass down the baseline to Andrew Meadow for the 3. Jace Whiting hit a big 3. Cam Martin hit a big 3. All 3 of those guys came off the bench. Andrew Meadow hit a 3 as well. 10 points, I think, from the bench after they had 15 in the previous 4 games combined. That's a positive sign moving forward.
I thought the coaching staff, Leon and Duryea and Burns, all 3 of those guys did a phenomenal job. One of their better coaching jobs that I've actually witnessed in terms of the creativity. All of a sudden, they're not going to wake up and have 9, 10, 11 players on their bench that can contribute. So they got to get creative and they've got to get smart. And Leon is stubborn that way sometimes. And the fact that he showed some different looks and brought in some different roster combinations and putting 5 players on the floor in a different way really, really not only surprised me, but put a smile on my face that he's going to get creative and try to figure this out. Jace Whiting, I love what he did on Saturday. I love this dude. But you know what? He had a pretty good day of taking care of the ball, which is always our biggest issue with him. I'd still like to see him shoot more. He's a really good shooter. And if he's going to be out there, maybe shoot the ball more and handle the ball less. I'm a little worried about Andrew Meadow and his time. He hasn't played much the last couple of minutes. I don't know if he's dealing with something. You may know something, or if it's just matchups and rotation, but he was on such a roll, and all of a sudden now he's getting very, very limited minutes. I'd like to see some more Andrew Meadow. I'd like to see that to be consistent. And Cam Martin, you're right. Cam Martin did shoot a 3-pointer. Johnny and I looked at each other because that was a frozen rope. I'm not sure I need Cam Martin shooting any more 3-pointers, but it worked on Saturday. I liked what this basketball team did. They were very efficient. They were very smart. And they really dominated this entire basketball game in front of a really cool crowd. It was a cool day at Boise State basketball.
Yeah, still couldn't sell it out, though. Still had about 400 unsold seats. Still had a lot of the empty seats from the orange seats from the donors there. And I know they've tried, and it's gotten better, Mike Prater, but it's still not perfect. There were some no-shows on Saturday.
There were, and there's always going to be. I think half those orange seats that are down in the blower bowl that never get used, those belong to dead people, for crying out loud. So that whole lifetime deal, I know that's frustrating, but yeah, I mean, I will scold you on this. Don't nitpick over a couple of fans here and there. Boise State basketball attendance is really, really rocking right now, and it's really, really cool. For a guy that buys tickets for almost every single home game so my family and I can go, it's more and more difficult all the time. They're more expensive, and I have to keep going higher. So that's a good problem to have. And yeah, there was some scattering of orange seats. There was some scattering up in the balcony here and there. But Boise State's one of the top 3 or 4 teams in this entire conference. I think the attendance is healthy. I think it's steady. The crowd was exciting. It was really fun in there. So I think it's a good thing. It's a really, really good thing right now. And you don't have to always sell out every single seat. The response on Saturday was pretty awesome.
Yeah, and you'd like it to be just as good, if not better, against Utah State, because that is another big game, and every home game the rest of the way. I mean, even the Air Forces of the world should be big crowds. I mean, it's the schedule's dwindling down here in terms of how many home games you have left. And as we've talked about, Mike Prater, I mean, 80+% of the time when you go to a game at Extra Mile Arena under Leon Rice, you're going to see a win and have a good time at the game. So we'll see what happens this week. Big week, obviously, for Boise State. I do want to get one final point in here. Jim says, don't understand your logic on Boise State's ability to win on the road. Historically, Boise State has fared well on the road. That is true, but I think if you're just projecting records and standings, I don't think you can just count on Boise State going to the Pit and winning or going to Viejas Arena and winning. Can they win those? Certainly. But when you have road trips left to Viejas, to the Pit, to Logan, and to Colorado State, like, I think 1 in 3, you might take that at this point out of those 4 road games. You can just get one of those because nobody's winning road games in the conference. So can they win? Sure. But would it be smart if you're trying to project the standings to say they're going to go win 3 of the 4 on the road? I just don't think that makes much sense given the fact that nobody is really winning on the road so far in conference. But a lot of basketball to be played and a lot of debates with opposing fan bases still to be had here the rest of the Mountain West season. Mike, I'm going to get to the drawing for the prizes, but what do we got coming up on Idaho Sports Talk?
We're going to talk a little John Bates today. He's joining us as we're taking a tour of former Boise State players in the NFL. And today, John Bates is going to join us. We're certainly going to talk about Khalil Shakir and Boise State's Super Bowl drought and talk about this basketball season, talk about this game. And we might even be working toward a little Omar Stanley guest in studio on Wednesday right here on Idaho Sports Talk, depending on availabilities and stuff like that. So big monster basketball weekend or week. Can't wait for these 2 games and it's kind of quiet on the football scene. We saw Spencer Danielson and Stacey Collins, shaking hands and kissing babies at the basketball game on Saturday.
Oh my gosh, that better be a topic on your show. John Mallory was like tackling me so he could shake Stacey Collins and Spencer Danielson's hand. I was like, I couldn't believe it.
I thought they were going to hug and kiss or something. It was kind of gross, wasn't it?
He saw him. He was literally like climbing over me to shake this, like knocking my computer over just to shake Stacey Collins' hand. I was like, my goodness, man. But he was excited to see him there for sure. But
he was. We'll give him a little crap for that for sure, no doubt about it.
I think there is. Hopefully in the next couple, maybe later this week. Actually, it sounds like maybe Thursday or Friday. I think Thursday might be the day Mike Prater. They might do some availability with either Stacey Collins or maybe some of the new assistant coaches. I'm not sure, but I know that's coming in the next couple of weeks. They're going to try to make those guys available. So we'll have some football stuff, but yeah, a lot of NFL talk and a lot of basketball talk. Idaho Sports Talk 3 to 6. You can hear that. By the way, did you see that John Mallory, Clark Kellogg, brilliant marketing ploy by our friend Mike Walsh. It was his idea, my understanding, and Tyson Degenhart was all over it. He gets the Degenhart dozen donuts. He gets the coffee. I even have the video. Do you have a second? Can I show you this video? Have you seen this? Have you seen this video here? Clark Kellogg, gets Tyson Degenhart, walks over and gives all of the Tyson Degenhart hands Clark Kellogg a Degenhart dozen, free plug for his sponsor. They're talking about it. It's brilliant. And our friend Clark Kellogg has a donut, enjoys it, but he starts, looking for folks around the arena to give the rest of the donuts to. And big shocker that our man John Mallory comes down out of his seat to talk to Clark Kellogg and make sure to hype up the donuts. And as you see right about here, Johnny's diving in, taking one of Clark Kellogg's donuts there.
Unbelievable.
You're talking the lead college basketball writer for CBS Sports. You know, he gets these donuts, and there's John Mallory saying, you know what? Yeah, I'll take one of those Bear Claws. Sure, why not? Long Johns, whatever he had there.
The most concerning thing there is, and I try not to make fun of short people, because Johnny's not short, but he's also not very tall. I'm very disappointed that the voice of college basketball, the voice of March Madness, I thought Clark Kellogg was a lot taller than that, by the way.
No. Johnny's on one of the steps.
Oh, is he really?
Johnny's standing on a step right there. Yeah, Johnny is still on. I can't go further, but
he did that on purpose.
Johnny did not come down to the bottom step on purpose. He is on the first, maybe even the second step there to try to be even with Clark Kellogg. Yes.
I don't know if I should make fun of him or give him credit, but that's funny.
Oh, man, we appreciate it, Mike, on a Monday, getting up with us for Bronco Nation News. You'll have another basketball column you're working on here in the near future, and hopefully folks will go subscribe, BNN 50 Deal, to read all your stuff, and hopefully they will be listening 3 to 6, Idaho Sports Talk today with the whole crew, Bob, JP, Prater, Johnny, and you'll be getting set for tomorrow's Fresno State game as well, and then I'll join you guys on Friday ahead of that Utah State game. So we're going to take a 90-second timeout. When I come back, we're going to give away our drawing, so don't go anywhere. But, Mike, we appreciate you, and we will be back to give away our weekly prizes, including that grill, in 90 seconds here on Bronco Nation News. Thanks, Mike. Bronco Nation News is sponsored by Tommy Ahlquist and Ball Ventures Ahlquist, Idaho's premier commercial real estate development company. BVA projects specialize in office, retail, flex, medical, and industrial spaces located at some of the most strategic and visible locations in the valley. Need a developer? Looking for new space? Think BVA. At BVA, we are Idaho's developer. The Nicolason family and SON Management have proudly been operating Taco Bell restaurants in and around the Treasure Valley since 1969. One of the first to make a 7-figure donation to the Lyle Smith Society, they've also stepped up their support of Boise State athletics with the Taco Bell men's and women's basketball endowed scholarships. The Nicolason family and SON Management have committed at least $310,000 by 2026. Get more information on their financial support of Boise State athletics and find information on applying to work at Taco Bell at TacoBellWorks.com. Lithia Ford of Boise is a proud supporter of Boise State athletics and the official car and truck of the Broncos. Lithia Ford of Boise supports Bronco student athletes through NIL deals, including providing Ford vehicles to Taylon Green and Riley Smith from the football team and Paige Barsh from the volleyball team. Rain's family purchased our F-150 from Lithia Ford. Couldn't be happier with the purchase. Check out the all-electric F-150 Lightning or the electric Mustang Mach-E at Lithia Ford, and make sure to check out their full inventory of vehicles at LithiaFordBoise.com. The Blue and Orange Store is the perfect spot to get all your gear for your next Bronco game. The Blue and Orange Store has official Nike apparel, including jerseys, shirts, sweatshirts, jackets, hats, and more. Wear what the Broncos wear and get it at the Blue and Orange Store, the second floor of the Boise Town Square Mall, or get free shipping on a $40 order online at theblueandorangestore.com. All right. Appreciate you guys for hanging with us here. I sincerely apologize that we had to push this back. I kept saying last week we'll get to it, and we hadn't. If you're unfamiliar, we're doing some weekly giveaways, and this week the main prize is this charcoal barbecue grill. BNN 50 Deal is the promo code. We're trying to reach out to you guys, but if you won something from the previous 2 weeks or if you win something today, please send me an email and we will connect on how to get this to you. But today is a good old-fashioned charcoal barbecue pit thanks to Cutwater Spirits. We've got 2 gift cards to the James, 2 gift cards to Taco Bell, and we also have some Cutwaters and Western Collective beer to give away as well. BNN 50 Deal is the promo code. You get a full year for just $50 to read all of our exclusive content, be eligible for our weekly giveaways, and it's leading up here in a couple of weeks to our grand prize. We're giving away a trip for 2 on a private jet to the game in San Diego to finish out the season. And again, you get 2 tickets to the game, 1 night stay in a hotel, hopefully a tour of the Cutwater facilities if we can make that happen. They're based out of San Diego there. And then a trip for 2 on a private jet, the VIP basketball experience. And so you got to be a yearly subscriber to be eligible for all of our giveaways. And this is just a thank you to our subscribers. We really appreciate it. Hopefully the content is worth it, but if it takes a sweeten the pot with a contest like this, then that's what we'll have to do. So hopefully you guys are in. We drew this before the show, or we drew the names from the list and put them into the thing before the show, and then we'll be able to add you by Friday. The next drawing will be on Friday. So if you sign up here before Friday, we'll add you to the list. And people have asked, how do I become eligible? You're automatically eligible. All you have to do is sign up for BNN 50 Deal promo code, have a 1-year subscription. If you're already a renewing subscriber and you didn't use the promo code, but you are a yearly subscriber, you are in. So you don't need to actually sign up or do anything. You're automatically in. If you are a yearly subscriber, you don't have to actually enter the contest. You are in the contest. That's all that you have to do. Before I do it, by the way, shout out BroncoBrew.coffee. Check them out. Bronco Brew Coffee, roasted to order coffee. It's delicious. They don't roast it till you order it, and within 24 hours, it's out the door and headed to your house. Supporting Boise State University athletics with every sip. They're doing some innovative stuff with the NIL game. So when you go onto their website, BroncoBrew.coffee, you can pick an athlete, and a portion of your sale goes directly to that student athlete as part of an NIL deal. So check them out, BroncoBrew.coffee. You will not be disappointed with them. And shout out to our friend Dave over at Lean Feast as well. Check out Lean Feast in Meridian. Healthy eating. I know we joked about Mike Burns. Mike Burns has lost a lot of weight, and it is due to Lean Feast. Tyson Degenhart, his girlfriend Brooke Thompson on the softball team is also a Lean Feast. You got Ashton Genty as well. So Lean Feast is helping fuel the athletes that you're watching out there on the court in the field, and they're helping folks like myself try to drop some pounds as well. So healthy eating, it's fully customizable meal prep. I highly, highly recommend you go out there. If you tell them you heard about it on BNN, they'll probably hook you up with a sweet deal. So please go support the sponsors and check out Lean Feast in Meridian. And again, the website is leanfeastmeridian.com, and they will deliver to you within a couple hours if you don't live close enough to want to come out and do that as well. All right, let's get to the drawing here. I'm going to add this to the stage. Let's make this, we'll leave this right here. I'm going to show you that this is, let me go back to the page here. So you can edit the wheel here. You can see all the different names as I'm scrolling down here. We've got Jared Volt, Bob McGett. Let's go a little further down. There's J.D. Price. There's Jordan Morales. Keep scrolling down. There's Blaine Moriarty, Hayden Handcuff. Let's see. Keep going here. There's Casey, Clement Casey. Let's see. Kevin. There's Kendra. So all the names are in here. If you're a yearly subscriber, there's Wynn Anderson, Rick Worthington. All the names are in here, and we truly appreciate all of you guys for your subscriptions. And again, we're giving away weekly prizes. Our first prize is going to be the grand prize for today, the barbecue pit. Nice charcoal barbecue pit. Thank you to our friends at Cutwater Spirits. And hopefully you guys can still hear me. I know last time we did this, I accidentally got muted when we did this, but I believe you guys can still hear me, and we will go ahead and hit the spin on this. So the wheel is spinning, and our winner of the barbecue pit today, hopefully someone that lives in the Boise area, is Tom Elliott. Tom Elliott, if you live in Boise, please send me an email and let me know. We appreciate you, and you are the winner of the barbecue pit. Now, how about a $25 gift card to the James Kitchen and Bar? The James Kitchen and Bar. Let's see here. James Anderson. James Anderson is the winner of our James Kitchen and Bar gift card, the first one. And if this is, by the way, someone that if you would like to trade it for a Taco Bell gift card or whatever, but if you are someone that's under 21 or doesn't drink, the James Kitchen and Bar has tremendous menu and great food items as well. It's not just a bar. Let's see what else we have here. Another $25 gift card to the James Kitchen and Bar. Let's give it to Denise Gaviola. Denise Gaviola, you're the winner of a gift card to the James Kitchen and Bar. Let's go ahead and go with Taco Bell. This is a $20 gift card to Taco Bell. Our winner for this one is Larry Tippett. Larry Tippett, you are heading to Taco Bell on a $25 gift card. We got another gift card for Taco Bell here. Let's give this one away to Kelly Holcomb. Kelly Holcomb, you get a $20 gift card to Taco Bell. We have some Cutwaters. Let's go with four packs of Cutwaters. So 16 Cutwater beverages. Let's go four packs of Cutwaters. And again, if you don't drink, hopefully you know somebody that does. But we have a nice stack of these, and we want to let you test some of the Cutwaters. How does that happen? James Anderson again. There's like a 3% chance that could happen. I guess there's less than that. I mean, we have 900 entries in here. We're going to pick somebody else. James already is getting a gift card to the James. Let's see here. Jeremy Kittle, you're getting a four packs of Cutwaters. So 16 drinks for you. And let's go 2 cases of the Western Collective beer. We got 2 cases of the Western Collective beer. We're going to give that the Horseshoe Golden Ale is going to Lisa Groet Bostoff. Lisa Groet Bostoff. Hopefully you are a enjoyer of the Western Collective beer because you are the winner on that. And I do want to give a shout out to our friend John Anderson. Today is his birthday, and he's a avid viewer of the show. And if you know Boise State athletics, you know John Anderson. So, John, happy birthday. I'll be giving you a call today, buddy. Hope it's a good birthday for you. And happy birthday. Make sure everyone reaches out via social media, however you can. If you see John Anderson, and reach out to John Anderson. Today is his birthday. So appreciate everybody for checking us out. Jay Tust and I will be along tomorrow at 9 a.m. If any news breaks or anything happens, we'll obviously have you covered at BroncoNationNews.com. But I am headed to Fresno and going to be on the scene, the only local media outlet. One of the James Andersons was supposed to be John Anderson. Maybe that's the case, and maybe it was his birthday and he won. But I thought he was in there as John Anderson, but when he signed up, but we'll have to look into that. That would be something if he got picked twice on his birthday. But I thought that I remembered his being in there as John Anderson. Either way, we'll look into that, and happy birthday, John. I am headed to Fresno, for the game tomorrow night. Bronco Nation News will be the only local media outlet heading to Fresno. And again, I don't say that to brag or boast or talk down on the competition. I just say that when you subscribe to BNN, your money is going back into the product, and it's paying for travel expenses, and it's paying for live pre and post game shows, live interviews with the players and coaches right there courtside at these games. And that's what you get with your subscription. So appreciate those of you that have already subscribed. Hopefully others will go ahead and subscribe. And again, BNN 50 deal. You see the promo code at the bottom of your screen. It's only $50 for a full year, and you can get in this week's drawing on Friday. We'll have some more stuff to give away on Friday, and again, it'll get you entered for the grand prize winner as well. But hopefully Bronco Nation News is your go-to source for coverage of Boise State athletics, and we're, again, other than Bob and Abe on the radio side, going to every game and the only one that's on the road with the team. So appreciate your support. And looking forward to seeing the game tomorrow night in Fresno. But again, first, Jay Tust and I will break it all down on Bronco Nation News Live at 9 a.m. tomorrow. So have a great rest of your day. I appreciate you. And we will talk to you guys later. Go subscribe if you can. Make sure you're following us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all the social media sites. And we will talk to you tomorrow morning unless something warrants it sooner than that. Bronco Nation News Live, Bronco Nation News.